One of the most popular tools in the React ecosystem is the React Router. It's a community-built routing solution for React applications. Currently, our ski day counter application is rendering these two components as part of our app, the ski day list and the ski day count. When we incorporate the router, we'll be able to navigate between these components on different pages fairly easily. First, we want to install the React Router from npm. We want to install it at version 3, so I'm going to say install React Router at 3.0.0. And we'll give it a save flag. Excellent. The next thing we want to do is we want to go over to our index.js file inside of source. And the index.js file is currently rendering the app, but we're actually going to have it render the router. So we're going to import a few things from React Router, including the router, route for all of the separate routes, and then this other feature called hash history, which we'll talk about in a bit. We'll import all of these from React Router. Now the next thing I want to do is we'll replace our app with router. So we want to use the opening and the closing router tag for this. And router is going to wrap around two different routes. So our first route is going to handle rendering the app, and the second one is going to handle rendering anything else. So we will say path equals slash. So every time we go to the home of our application, it's just going to render the app, which we can specify by saying component equals app. Now, this other route is going to handle any sort of wildcards. So we're going to set this up at path star, and we're going to say that this should render component whoops 404. So if anybody goes to any route but the home, it's going to render a separate component. The other thing I want to set up here on line 10 is this value called history, and we're going to set it equal to hash history. So history is going to listen to the browser's address bar for any changes, and it will keep track of those changes. So we're going to use hash history because we can set it up here without having to configure a server. Now we need to create our whoops 404 component, which we'll do inside of the components folder. So we'll just save this as whoops 404.js. And this is just going to export const whoops 404. It will be a stateless component. And we're going to render a div here with an h1. And the h1 will just say whoops route not found. Excellent. So notice here that I haven't wrapped our div with parentheses on this stateless component. You actually don't even need those when you're just rendering JSX elements. So I just wanted to show you that as an alternative. Back to our terminal, let's start this thing. So we're going to run npm start. We will look at localhost 3000. Oh, it looks like we haven't imported whoops 404. That is a pretty simple fix. We're going to go back to our index.js file, and let's import this right next door to our app. We'll say whoops 404 from /components whoops 404. Sweet. So it has rebuilt, and now we see both of these being rendered. It works. So anything on the home route is going to render whatever is in the app. We haven't split these up yet, which we will do soon. But if we go to any other route, let's say resorts, it'll say whoops not found. Resorts, lifts, whatever. It's always going to render that other component. Great. So we have incorporated the router. In the next videos, we will make our app even more dynamic using some different features of the React Router.